Hello Curveballs and welcome back to my channel. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Lisa and I am the Curvy Cuban. I focus primarily on artistic eye looks and I like to dupe palettes. Today I am doing both an artistic eye look and I am duping a palette. And today's palette we're duping is the Jaclyn Hill Volume II. And you might think,
Lisa, you've got the palette in your hand. How are you duping it if you have the palette?
What you don't know is I only have this palette on one of these eyes. One of these eyes was done using this palette. Makeup Revolution by Patricia Bright. So which palette is which? You'll just have to stick around and keep on watching. But before you do, don't forget to tap subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my future uploads, and throw me a thumbs up, because you know you're gonna like me after you watch this video. Doesn't cost you anything, just go ahead and do it. Now that all that housekeeping is out of the way, let's dupe that palette. Let's start with the yellow shade in Jaclyn's palette, which is No Joke. And we're just gonna pop that on the inner portion. And I like to bring my shadow all the way up to the brow, especially if you have deep set eyes. This really opens it up. And on the other side, I'm gonna use my duped shadow. The one I'm using right now is called Vitamin C in my Makeup Revolution by Patricia Bright palette. So you can see a little bit of a difference. The one on this side is a little bit brighter, and I feel like Jaclyn's looks like it has a little bit more of an orange hue. But if you're just going for a look, so far you would not be able to tell the difference. Next, we're gonna move on to the shade My Man, which is the orange shade. It's like a rich orange shade in Jaclyn's palette. And I'm just gonna place that right next to No Joke. Now on the other side, I'm going to dip into that same palette, the Patricia Bright palette, and I'm gonna use a shade called Yes Peaches, and we'll see if we can tell a difference. Those look pretty dang similar. I don't think anybody would be able to tell a difference if I just use that shadow instead. Shocked at how similar those are. Okay, now I'm gonna go into the shade Tipsy Girl from the Jaclyn Hill palette, which is a hot pink. And on the other side, the Patricia Bright palette is a shade called Fruit Punch, and it is also a hot pink. Again, and bring in some of the oranges, so I'm dipping back into My Man on this side, and then Yes Peaches on the other. We have a color called Lolly Mama in the Jaclyn Hill palette, and a color called This Pink's Poppin' in the Patricia Bright palette. So let me get a smaller brush, and I'm just going to swirl the edges with Lolly Mama. And I'm just lightly touching the skin. I've got kind of like this tie-dye effect going on. Now going into the other palette for This Pink's Poppin'. Now I'm going to cut the crease, and because I have deep set eyes, and when I open my eye, most of what you see here is hidden by the deep setness, I like to bring my crease further than where the actual inner portion of my eye is and create like a whole new shape. And I go way up above my natural crease, however, I'm staying with the same shape of it. Okay, now that we've cut the crease, then I want to go into the purple Jaclyn Hill palette. It is the shade Not My Journey, and I am going to just dip into that and pack it on this outer corner. And on the other side, I'm gonna go into the Patricia Bright palette in the shade Reckless, which is the dupe. Getting very Sailor Moon-y vibes from this look. Right, once I'm happy with the intensity of the purple, I'm gonna go back in with the hot pink in each palette with my fluffy Farrah brush, Tipsy Girl on this side, and Fruit Punch on the other. Okay, so for the very, very inner corner, I'm gonna go in with the shade I'm In It, which is the white shimmery shade in Jaclyn Hill's palette. This shade is very much a duochrome where it has kind of like a purplish pinky shift to it. So this is where the main difference is gonna be between this eye and the other, because the one in the Patricia Bright palette does not have a duochrome shift. It's pretty much just a soft white shimmer. And then next up, I'm going to use this shade Love Song, which is a light pink shimmer in the Patricia Bright palette. Very, very, very pale pink shimmer. And I'm going to use the shade Drama Queen from Jaclyn's palette. In the Jaclyn Hill palette is the shade Oh Hello. And in the Patricia Bright palette, the shade Pillow Talk. Okay, so we've got Pillow Talk on this side, which has merged the shimmer and the purple. We've got Oh Hello on this side. Now I'm gonna get a bigger shader brush just so I can add a little bit of Drama Queen. Drama Queen has a more champagne-y shift to it, whereas Love Song is more of a pink, a pure pink. But from a distance, can you really tell I used two different palettes? All right, so I'm going to get my Farrah brush and kind of get most of the pigment off of it. And I just want to just blend these edges. I just kind of want to smoke out the look a little bit. I mean, I haven't done my face makeup yet, but I still would like a little bit less harshness and a little bit more gentle fade away. I am going to move on to my face makeup, and we will be back to work on the lower lash line. Now for eyeliner, on my lower lash line, I'm just using a black eyeliner in the waterline. You can use any of your favorite black eyeliners in your waterline. This one particularly happens to be Noir Supreme by Laura Mercier that I got at TJ Maxx for $6.99. This one's Milani Eye Tech Bold, the liquid liner. It's a very fat felt tip. Let's do some more of Not My Journey. And it's Dupe Reckless. I'm just dragging the same shade just with this blending brush all the way to the inner corner. I'm not even adding any additional product. I'm just blending it. for the inner corner, I want to go back into the same inner corner shimmer that we used on each side. So on the Patricia Bright side, we're using the shade Shimmering. And on Jaclyn's side, we're using the shade I'm In It. And while we're at it, we'll go ahead and add a brow bone highlight with the exact same shades of each. And then it will be time for the lashes.
I'll slap on these lashes and I'll be back in 3, 2, and 1.
This is the final look using the Jaclyn Hill and Patricia Bright. A completely different spin on Dupe That palette for this month. Usually I am trying to dupe the palettes just by looking at pictures of them to see what I have in my collection.
And this time, I actually purchased the palette that I wanted, even though I already filmed a Dupe That palette, and I have to delete it because then I went out and bought it.
So I'm pretty astonished with the fact that this palette, I believe, I'll put the price up there, is definitely cheaper than this one. They're both relatively affordable, I would say. I mean, all of Revolution's makeup and their palettes are relatively cheap. The Patricia Bright palette happened to be one of their higher end in the dollar sphere. The Jaclyn Hill palette obviously is a little bit pricier, and the only reason I got this was because the last day Ulta was open before quarantine, I was walking around after having seen the sign saying that as of 6 p.m. that evening, they would be closing down for the next 2 weeks. Well, it has been longer than 2 weeks and will probably be a lot longer than another 2 weeks, but I figured if that was going to be my last time walking through an Ulta for the foreseeable future, I may as well splurge and pick up something that I had been eyeing. And that one thing had been this Jaclyn Hill Volume II palette. After I started playing with it, I realized how much it reminded me of my Patricia Bright palette, which had not been that long ago that I purchased that one in lieu of Jaclyn Hill because it was cheaper and I thought it had many of the same similar colors. So
I was right. Probably shouldn't have had that impulse buy, but I did.
So what do you think? Other than the inner corner having a pinker shift and a more white shift here, I would never be able to tell if you were to walk into a restaurant wearing nothing but Patricia Bright and claim that you were wearing Jaclyn Hill Volume II. Who's gonna know? I think they're pretty much spot on. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you come back to see me for the next one, which will be Flawless Foundation for women who are almost 40. Until next time, stay curvy and stay charismatic, and I'll see you in a week. Bye.